Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the EME podcast coming to you hot and live for the 2023 podcast industry. Yeah. I'm here with my guys. My guys are Charley Rock City and King Caleb Gleason.
What's up with the top? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Man, these my guys. You guys know what EME brings to the table. We are an organization that has decided that we are tired of the violence in our city of Little Rock, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to do something about it. We think that the streets are just way too violent in the past, and we're here to initiate and bring about change for the city of Little Rock. And to do that, we come across several topics. One of the main topics for EME is education.
Yeah.
We believe that education is a way for our community to rise farther than where they've ever been. What do you guys think?
Top three. It's the top three in the community. You got to have education. Yeah. Education and economics are a must.
Must. Y'all know it.
Yeah.
And we have two educators in our facility today.
And we know them.
And we know them. Grew up around them, good friends, and damn it, they love us. Right. They love us and we love them.
And do.
And we're going to let our guests introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. I am Courtnei Jackson, formerly Courtnei Williams. I am the principal teacher at Shiloh Excel Christian School here in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Wow.
That's my niece mama.
And she dope.
And I'm Kevin K. Bruce, and I'm blessed and privileged to be not only the pastor of the Shiloh Seventh-day Adventist Church, but also I serve as whatever the school needs me as. So if they need a janitor, I'm the janitor that day. If they need a technology person, I'm the technology person that day. If they need a playground build, I'm going to build a playground too. So whatever they need,
yes,
we just try to fill and do what we need to do.
As a pastor should be.
Boots on the ground, hands on deck.
Yes.
Thanks for coming, Pastor. Thanks for coming, Miss Jackson.
Thanks for having
Principal
us.
Jackson.
There you go. I like
Principal
that.
Jackson.
I like
Principal
that.
Jackson. Yeah. For real.
Indeed.
So, Courtney, let me ask you this. How long have you been an educator?
I have been an educator for 10 years. I taught 9 years in public school, and then this is my first year at Shiloh Excel in a private school.
Right. Oh, I never knew you was a teacher.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
A good teacher.
Very
Don't
good
forget that
teacher.
part.
Good teacher. That make a difference.
It makes a difference.
She
a big
does.
difference.
She's been doing it for so long, man. Like,
yes.
in and out of these schools, making a difference, man. She got these children on lock, bro, and she gives them that street edge, that Christian edge, as well as that administrative edge.
Right.
Yes.
You gotta have both. You gotta have both, especially to communicate with the kids in this day and age. You gotta be able to speak their language. Other
Absolutely.
than that, you out of there. They ain't
You
trying to
right.
hear nothing.
Right.
And let me ask you this: what life experiences brought you to want to even be an educator?
Honestly, I did not want to be a teacher. I worked in childcare, and a lot of people were saying, you should be a teacher. And I'm like, I do not want to be a teacher. These kids don't know how to listen and all this stuff. But then I went to school to get my child development associate's degree. And it was just so I could make a little bit more money, to be honest. I still was not trying to be a teacher. But once I started getting the education and understanding exactly how to teach students or children and how to communicate with them, understanding how they develop and things of that nature, then I was like, oh, okay, let me try this and see if it worked. And it started working. But what caused me to become a teacher was I was in a position where a 2-year-old, he was battling with a medical condition, and I'm reporting it to the director. Hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm telling mom, I'm sending home reports. I'm letting her know something is not right with him. He's complaining every day, and she would blow it off. And I just could not go to sleep knowing that that child was not being taken care of. Yeah. And so I just kept pressing the issue. She started hating me because I'm pressing the issue about making sure this child is taken care of. Right. And at that moment, I just prayed. I was like, Lord, something got to give, because he is not doing well. He was complaining every single day. If I tell you what his situation was, you'll be like, oh, MG. But so I prayed about it, and that same day, DHS came into the building. And you know DHS does not play. You got to follow those regulations. And so they did what they did. I swear I thought I was going to get fired because here I am brand new in this building, causing the director to do what she's supposed to do in the first place, which is to take care of this child. Right. And so I'm thinking, they finna get rid of me. They called me to this office, I'm gone. They called me to the office, I was like, yep, I'm out of there. But at the end of the day, DHS told them the same thing I was telling them, which was what the law was saying in the first place. And so she just agreed or confirmed that they were going to do what they were supposed to do for that kid. So at that moment in time, I knew, okay, this is what I'm here for. Because if I didn't speak up for him, who else was going to do it?
No one.
The person in charge isn't. Mama don't care.
Right.
So then what?
Right.
So I had to be the advocate for him. He was only 2. He couldn't say, hey, I need to go to the doctor because I have X, Y, and Z. I had to do that for him. And so that's why I'm a teacher and now a principal.
Right. But you know, you teach.
Amazing.
Hey, she teaching at what's that?
Alma mater.
Alma mater.
Yes.
Alma mater.
Yeah. Charley Mack and I went there.
Sure did.
And
he was horrible too. There. He was horrible. Man, he was bad.
Go put him out there like that.
I was trying to be the good guy all the time and stuff, but
It was that influence.
hey, I was a child dealing with post-traumatic stress. Didn't know that.
man,
You know what I'm saying?
and he was just a bad influence on me. I tried to do the right thing, but ended up doing the wrong thing. Listen to this dude.
Anybody believe that? Anybody believe that?
I'm a nice guy. I'm an angel. Gwen is my mama.
There you go. There you go.
Hey,
Courtney, you kind of led onto my. Unless you had a question.
No, go ahead.
You kind of led onto my next question. How can education work more closely with the parents in the household so it could be more like a village instead of, because nowadays I see a lot of parents beefing with teachers. When the teacher says something, the parent want to cuss them out. Parents want to say something or agree with the children, knowing that sometimes children lie. So
A lot of times they do.
A lot of time, majority
I
of
said
the time.
sometimes to be cool, but I know I got
Yes.
children, so they lie almost all the time. But anyway, how do you bring that together, the parents and the teachers, where it's on the same page?
I think the first thing is parents need to understand that they have a right to talk to a teacher, to ask about the education, to ask, what are you doing with my child in the classroom? In an appropriate manner, of course. They have the right to do that, but I feel that some parents don't feel comfortable enough to do that. And so because they don't feel comfortable enough, you already have tension there. So the best way to make that village happen is to build a relationship with the parents.
True.
You have to build that relationship with the parents, whether they're hard to deal with or not. You still have to have open communication with them, be honest with them, and just set boundaries with them and tell them they should do the same. You should be able to come and talk to me and I should be okay with you questioning me about your child's education because you're responsible for your child. And I'm responsible for your child as well. So building a relationship with parents is the best way to do that. And that's the great thing about Shiloh Excel is because you have a smaller community. Right. And that smaller community, if you're teaching parents how to communicate, which is basically what everything boils down to, is learning how to communicate with one another. So if I'm teaching you how to communicate with me, and then you're doing the same with your child, then we're all gonna be working it out together. And so there's your village based on communication. And so that is my plan and my foundation with when I was in public school, communication. Students that I taught years ago, and the parents that were open and willing to communicate and be honest with me and I with them, we still have relationships to this day. I can call them, I can text them, hey, what you doing, how you doing? Go to their house, have a meal. And that's how it should be. It should be open enough where you're comfortable to communicate with each other, comfortable to sit down and have a meal together. And what a school has to do is give the parents that opportunity to do that. Family nights, just because nights, come into the classroom, you're welcome. You're welcome to be a part of parties. You're welcome to be a part of on the team to help me plan a party. So we have to include them in every aspect of a school, and that's how you can create your village.
Excellent.
This how I get scary though, Pastor White. Because it's a two-way street.
It is.
If I can the school get too much information by my household going in. Here come DHS.
Mercy.
Here come this. So don't be going to school saying, because a teacher, she might get a concern about something, but this is how this parent have to discipline this child. And that teacher might not agree with that. And then here goes DHS coming all in your house because you don't want to put the folks in my business. You feel what I'm saying?
So if the parent is communicating with the teacher, not the student, not the child, then there's their relationship. I've had plenty of parents that was definitely not treating their child well, but I can call them and say, hey, your child, he came in here, his shoes was a little too small. Is there something we need to do? There's that communication there versus just going straight to DHS or taking a score. He ain't have his shoes on today, no coat today. Now it's time for me to call DHS.
And I think that's that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But I think that's where communication comes into play.
Right.
When you have that communication, when you have that open line of communication, where you've built a relationship with somebody, it allows for that to happen where you're not escalating situations, but you're able to dialogue about situations and work things out so it doesn't escalate to the next level.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like, we didn't have that problem. All right, before it was Miss Cunningham.
Miss Rose.
Then we had Miss Rose.
Brother Rose.
So we were a lot, Miss Cunningham, and they gonna tear us up. We got whippings. We got whippings in school.
Don't spill the tea now. Don't spill the tea.
But that was back then.
Yeah, they won't let that happen now. Parents will go crazy.
Me and Meg got a pallet
I got a pallet.
day.
Being this dude's best friend got you a whooping every day.
Hey, watch this here.
Every day.
Hear instructions.
Be wise and refuse it not.
Hey.
Write that 1,000 million times.
Hey,
500, 600 times.
hey, but y'all remember it though.
Yeah, we remember
But y'all
that.
remember it
Man,
though.
we remember
One more
that.
time.
Hear instructions, be wise, and refuse it not.
Come on
Always.
now.
And we how we used to write it, Charley right. Here.
Yeah, we found out the way to do it quick.
Instructions.
Yeah.
About 1,000 times every time.
But why was Miss Rose or Miss Cunningham or whomever that was able to give you those whippings, why were they comfortable enough doing it?
Because they had a communication with our parents.
Right. And
Right, I was just about to
we
say
went
that,
to church together, we ate together. Miss Cunningham would do the veggie burger thing. We all knew each
knew
other.
it,
So
yeah.
my mother then was comfortable.
And my mama co-signed it 10 times. Like beat him, and then when you beat him, I'ma beat him when you get home. Man, I got beat, man. Man.
Yes.
My mama used to whoop me at school in front of everybody.
Yes,
I'm like
yes.
this,
Right.
embarrassed.
And another thing, this is what I love about Shiloh education. When I left Shiloh, I didn't graduate because it only went to the 8th grade. I left. But when I went to public school, I was at 11th grade level.
Yes, that's true.
So I got skipped up a year.
That's true.
And that's one of the blessings of having smaller class sizes. You get that individual one-on-one attention that you don't necessarily get in a public school. And we're not here to disparage public schools because Mrs. Jackson taught in a public school up until last year. And my wife still teaches in a public school. My wife teaches in Bryan at Salem Elementary. Okay. And so we're definitely not trying to disparage public school education. But there's something different about a private school and having smaller sizes as well. And similar story, I came from Oklahoma City before I came here. And there was a guy there, he went into the Navy and he did the ASVAB. And his recruiter asked him, where'd you go to high school? And he told him where he went to high school, where he graduated from. And the instructor said, nah, you didn't go to that school your whole life. Where did you go to school before that? And he told him that he went to a small Christian Adventist school as well. And he said, that makes sense because I've never seen somebody score as high on this ASVAB, graduated from the school that he told him that he graduated from. And he said it makes sense being that he went to the school that he went to. So yes, in these smaller settings, students tend to thrive and you end up on a higher grade level when you transition out of the school into another school.
Same thing happened to me. It happened to Rock. I went to private school. I went as far as 9th grade because I went to Rodney Perrin for a year. And then 10th grade, I went to McClellan. And man, when I was there, man, all the teachers was like, you fight a lot, you get in trouble, but you smart. Like, where you come from? And I told them, and they was like, yeah, your grades show it, but your behavior. They told me they're like your behavior, but your grades are different than everybody else.
Right.
And it was because of the Christian education that I received, because those small classroom and settings gives the teacher one-on-one time with you. And whatever you're not good at, they get to address it and work on it and fix it in a one-on where it's not as many students, like we're saying, we're not disparaging public schools. It's just more bodies in those classrooms, and it's less bodies in private schools. And there's more pressure, there's more pinpoint handwork on education, one-on-one education, and they help fix what's wrong with you. With your education, like if you're bad at math, the teacher will take their time with you. If you're bad in English, she'll take their time with you, or he'll take their time
and
with you.
can take that time because it's smaller class sizes.
The ability.
And you're not going to be leaving all these other kids behind because you're trying to focus on this one student.
The ability.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because in public schools, you do have the opportunity of small groups, but your main idea or your main focus is your 27 or 28 kids that you have in your one classroom as one teacher. And then you have the opportunity of saying, oh, okay, you need help with this, so now I have a small group. But I might have 5 or 6 small groups because there's so many students. But at Shiloh Excel, you have the opportunity of having, it's kind of like a small group within a small group.
It is.
Because I can teach you on level, but also I can teach you above your grade level, as we've already mentioned, because you already have that skill. Why must I make you sit and wait or not get it at all when you can go ahead and learn 6th grade stuff or 5th grade stuff because you're ready. So that's the privilege of being at Shiloh Excel, being in those small classes. You have the automaticity to kind of do what you need to do versus what you have to do.
Right.
In public schools, you have to do this. People gonna come around with their little pad. You doing? I saw you doing this. But that's not what they need. So being able to have that ability to see what you need to do and do it, that's a different ball game, because now you're truly enhancing the education of young people and giving them exactly what they need when they need it. If they're ready, why not give it to them? Right. So if I'm teaching, if I have a kindergartner who's doing 2nd grade math, why would I keep them in kindergarten math? You going over here with these 2nd graders, and you're going to learn with the 2nd graders. Right. If you need a 1st grade writing, great. Come on over here with these 1st graders. But what we're not going to do is make you stay in kindergarten math when you can handle 2nd grade.
And that's what Miss Cunningham used to do to us.
Always.
She would have us 2 grades ahead. So if we in the field, she giving us 7th, 8th grade work.
She did.
Looking at me like, dang.
But you can handle it though.
Right. She knew we can handle it.
And she believed in you.
She believed in us. And she made sure that we were proper. So we were always like 2 grades ahead.
Like when he and I was in the 6th grade, we was doing 8th grade, 7th grade. We was in the 7th grade class. We was doing. And then she had us doing those plays and stuff.
Everything.
Man,
all that,
I'm telling you, that education. When I think of it, because at first I didn't like it.
Of course.
I felt like I was away from my friends in public school. I was missing out. I couldn't play basketball, football, none of that. I couldn't do none of that. But when I look back at it now, our parents were setting us up for success.
Absolutely.
They was actually setting us, and they knew how intelligent we were. So they wanted us to grow in that way. And man, I'm embarrassed, man. I did my mom like that, man.
I feel like this sometimes.
Don't be embarrassed.
Now
Don't be
that I
embarrassed.
think about it, man. She was doing her best for me.
Listen, Paul said when I was a child, I acted like a child.
Man.
But when I became a man, I put away childish things, right?
Absolutely.
We didn't know what we didn't know when we were young, right?
Right.
But now that we know what we know now, we do better with what we know.
No,
right? And so
You better
no need to
preach
be
that.
embarrassed. You know,
Man,
you didn't
I'm
know
not
what you
mad.
didn't know.
I'm embarrassed and I'm pissed off because now I'm a parent now and I see what my mom was going
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
I was a bad little kid, man. I think about
Can you talk to my daughter? I've been trying to tell her. I was like, listen, when you get to my age, you gonna understand.
That's
Yeah. I didn't understand when I was young. I was fighting with my parents. My mom be home at this time.
Boy.
But now I know. I see what my mom was trying to do. You know, and now that I'm a man, I put away childish things.
Boy. Caleb, you got a question, Caleb?
I think y'all really answered a lot of it. I was gonna ask you though, are Christian schools similar to STEM schools?
So with our school, we are a STEM private school.
What does STEM mean, please?
STEM is science, technology, education, and math.
For y'all that didn't know.
And so what we're wanting to do is implement STEM into our curriculum, because if you look around the world, that's where most of the jobs are geared towards, are STEM related jobs. And so what we want to do is set our students up for success. Kindergarten all the way to 8th grade are going to have opportunities to do projects and things that incorporate STEM. And so that's how we're different from other schools. Other schools may have a science course or may have a math course, but STEM incorporates it all, or a majority of them. When you're conducting or doing some kind of project, you're using science, you're using technology, you're using engineering skills as well as math skills. And so a lot of times we see all the subjects as separate, but in reality, they all correlate with one another.
Right.
And so that's what STEM is going to help. That's why we're incorporating STEM into our school, to help the students have success, as well as just to get them to understand that you're not just doing math, you're not just doing writing. All of it works together. You're going to use all of it or most of it together in some time in your life. You're not going to just do this. It all comes together.
Right.
So, do you personally, in your teaching repertoire, do you use traditional or new age teaching techniques?
I use both.
So you use old school and new school?
I use a lot of old school, though, because it worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for the kids? But you also just have to learn how your students learn, and then you have to apply it accordingly. So last year, or when COVID hit, we, as a public school, most schools, we were all like, what are we going to do? They want us to teach online. I ain't never taught online. How am I supposed to do that? And then they gave us all these things and said, here, 2 days before school started, learn it and do it well. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I had an issue with my team. I was teaching 4th grade at this time. And we had to pre-record our lessons and things of that nature. And so I wasn't only teaching for myself, I was also teaching for the whole 4th grade team a certain subject. And so when they would do their videos, it'll just be like blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what about the kids who need visuals? What about the kids who need you to move around a little bit? What about the kids who might need a little video in the background? And they would say, that's too much. But they need it. So here I am spending hours on my video, and you just coming up with blah, blah, blah. I was feeling some kind of way. But that's what my students and all those students needed, because all students learn differently. And so I'm putting videos up. I'm finding, searching YouTube like I've never done before. And being super dramatic in my videos, but it was exactly what they needed. It wasn't traditional for us, or for me even at that time, but it's exactly what they needed. And I just had to figure it out, get in there and make it happen. And I just had to think about, who am I teaching? And what do I need to do for them? Do they need some Play-Doh? Do they need some strings? I don't know. Whatever it is that's going to help them learn, let's make it happen. And some things I truly just say God blesses me, because sometimes I'm working with a student and I'm like, let's see if macaroni and cheese, like crazy stuff just come to mind, and I do it, and they like, oh, I got it. I'm like, okay, thank you, God.
Come up with your own technique.
Yes.
Originality.
Hey, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
What made you start preaching?
Oh, man.
God.
No, for real. For real. No, for real. I still don't want to preach. But God called me. I say it's the best decision I ever made in my life was to answer the call. I ran from it. I knew from I was about 9-10 years old that God was calling me to pastor. Still don't want to do it, but it was the best decision I've ever made, was, making that decision to go ahead and just answer the call to pastor. To struggle,
Yes,
a lot of
Lord.
times. But it's a blessing. It's more of a blessing than it is a struggle. And I wouldn't do anything different at
Right.
this point. I really wouldn't do anything different. I love it and I enjoy it with everything that's within me.
And you good at it.
I don't know about all that, but
You're pretty good. Okay, you okay.
all right, there you go. I'll take okay.
I'll dumb it down. You all right. He's great. He's great.
Yeah,
He's great. He's great. He moved the crowd sometimes.
gotta move the crowd, man. Gotta move. You gotta have this.
So, have you always just worked with what is the highest grade you ever worked with?
Fourth grade was the highest.
Fourth was
yes. I've tutored kids that are a little older than fourth grade. I had a lot of people come to me and say, hey, what do you think about this? And so everything boils down to testing the students, see what they know and don't know, and then just moving forward from there. So I would get some people who would ask me. I try to get people in the community inside of the school so they can be a part of the school.
Right.
And so the kids can know that it's not just the school, there's other things going on in our community. But making those relationships with those people opened me up to tutoring kids that are older in higher grades than fourth grade. Right. And so they would ask me, what do you think about this? Can you do this? Absolutely. Right. And so that's how I've done a little bit more than fourth grade.
Right. Pastor, is this the first church you pastored at?
No. I pastored in Tulsa, pastored in Oklahoma City, and now I'm pastoring here. So yeah, it's
Third church?
Third district. Let's go with
Okay,
third my third district that
Southwest
I pastored.
Conference.
Yeah.
It's Dub Conference.
Yeah. So
How long have you been pastoring where you are now?
I've only been here since March of 2001, and really and truly August of 2001. I started pastoring a church in March of 2001, but we're still closed because of the pandemic. And so Southwest allowed me to stay in Oklahoma City, where I was pastoring before, until August when my wife finished her school year, and my daughter was in 8th grade at the time. So they let us stay in Oklahoma City till my daughter finished out her 8th grade year, and my wife finished out her year, and then after that we moved here. So yeah, 2001, I moved here, August 2001. And so been here ever since, loving it, enjoying it, love the church. Before I accepted the call, I called a bunch of people to just, hey, tell me about Shiloh. And everybody said it. It's a great church. It's just in the hood.
Dead smacking, gang infested water.
That's where it needs to be.
Hey, listen, the hood.
That's where it needs to be.
Amen. Amen. In the hood. Amen. Hey, Jesus grew up in the hood. Jesus grew up in Nazareth was the hood. Don't let nobody fool you.
Hey, it needs to
Nazareth
be
was
where
the
people
hood.
can get to it, right there in the hood. So,
Yeah. They
that's a good
ask,
spot
can
to
anything
be.
good come out of Nazareth? Can anything come out the
They
good?
said no.
Come on.
Can anything good come out the hood?
Come on now.
Hey.
What it is.
Amen.
Man, Jesus made move with thugs, though. That's what he did. He did. He went out there. He talked to him. He fed him. And everything he did was not originally for the church. It wasn't.
Went out
It
into
was
the
for
community.
Yeah.
The community, yes.
The community needed him.
That's what we supposed
He
to be doing.
empowered the community.
He empowered them.
And part of the empowering the community was he empowered them through education as
That's
well.
right.
Right.
He taught them love.
Right.
Yeah, he did.
That's the major message.
Yeah.
He taught out of everything. He went through the hood and like, hey man, y'all
I
gotta
love
learn how to
it.
love each
That's
other.
that's the whole
And that's
concept of it.
That was his main
And
message.
then, man, he went up in the church and acted the fool a little bit.
Because they weren't acting right in there.
Right?
Up in the church.
They were doing too much.
Church
up in
folks
there.
are always the
Come
one
on now,
acting
they
up.
doing too much. You had to come clear some stuff up in there.
Yeah.
That's right. But that's the good thing about Christian education is, like you said, what Jesus wanted to teach was love.
Right.
And that's what Christian education should be the foundation of, is loving one another. Going back to your scenario about DHS getting involved. But if I love you and I'm communicating with you first, then we don't have a conversation before anything like that happens. And so having your child in an environment where love is the foundation, and not, I just got to do this because I'm trying to get my paycheck and we get the summers off. That's the beauty of being in an environment that is focused on that and that pushes that. Like, anybody can't just come up in here and teach
Right.
or volunteer. You're going to have to be on your P's and Q's, and you're going to have some love underneath your belt before you come through here and thinking you could do whatever.
See, that should be in every school.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Mrs. Jackson has created or has fostered that community of love. One of the things I love seeing, we got 3 boys there right now that whenever they see each other, they wait on each other. If they pull up to the school and one is in their car or pulling up, they wait for them to come in. They run up to each other. It's kind of reminding me of y'all. You know how y'all grew up. They hugging on each other and they just love each other. And she's created an atmosphere of love there at the school, and they love each other and they love her as well. My son, I'm like, you want to keep acting up? You're not going to school today. My son goes, I got skin in the game. I'm not just talking about it. My son goes to school there, and a lot of the things that she's talking about as well, as far as implementing different things, learning methods. I've seen her do in my son's life, and I've seen, just to be honest, I was concerned about how my son was going to do in school, and he's done a phenomenal job. She actually brought him in, was it a week or 2 early?
I think it was 2 weeks.
2 weeks early. She brought him in 2 weeks early to kind of just get him engaged because he's a little bit hyperactive, get him engaged and just different things like that. And the first day of school, he was ready to go. She'd set the foundation. She'd set the expectation, and he's been thriving. He's been doing well. And I'm glad that my son is at that school.
That's awesome.
That's another thing that I love about private school, because all of us had ADHD.
But you're going to learn today.
They weren't quick to medicate. Public school gonna medicate you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when we was there, they wasn't quick to medicate. They'll take time with the problem and soothe it on out.
Yeah, they medicated me.
They gonna medicate you. You know what I'm saying?
My mama took me out.
But see, when you go to a school like that, see, Miss Jessie, she know all the pookies and the little JoJo.
Absolutely, I've had them.
You know what I'm saying? Public school, and I know Miss Little Pookie, and I don't know how to deal with Little Pookie.
They don't.
But even with parents, like I had parents who had their kids on that had them on medication or whatever, and I'll say, oh, today he was a little something, and they'll say, well, I forgot to give him his medication. Okay, I said, well, just let me know.
Right.
Say you want to give him a half a pill and see how he acts today. Let me know, and I can tell you he did good. Or you want to not give him any, and you want to see how he acts. If you tell me what you're trying to do,
Right.
we're gonna work it out. I'm gonna let you know he did really good today without his medication. Let's try for another week. However you feel, that's what I'm gonna do. So it doesn't always have to be medication. It could be maybe he just need a little bit of it, or maybe none at all. Maybe just need it for the moment. And that's the good thing about having an atmosphere that will do that for you. Other teachers gonna be like, he ain't have it today. I know he ain't have it today. Can you make sure he have his medicine?
That's true.
I couldn't do X, Y, and Z. Why? Because you got so many kids. But at the end of the day, it's still about
communication.
It's still about communication. It's about who are you there for, yourself or the children?
Right. And that's a major thing right there. Pastor, have you ever thought just having settling down in one church and just doing your thing there? Right.
Man, there's
like
a lot of
to move?
temptation. Yeah. There's a lot of temptation. Just settle down and just do something. But I tell people I have a Bible and I'll travel. So wherever God wants me to be, He hasn't steered me wrong yet. He led me to Tulsa. I was like, I'd never been to Oklahoma before in my life. When He led me to Tulsa, He worked things out there. I went up to Michigan to go to seminary, and then He sent me to Oklahoma City. Never been to Oklahoma City before, but He worked things out there. He sent me here to Arkansas. I'd never been to Arkansas before, like lived in Arkansas, and I think He's working it out. So, man, wherever He wants me, that's where I'm going to be. I'm just going to be obedient. Here I am. I'm like Isaiah, here I am, send me. So wherever He wants me, that's where I'm going to go.
Right.
I'm with you on that. I'm like that in my life now. Wherever He send me, I'm going.
Yeah.
Because He ain't gonna send us nowhere that we shouldn't
Hey,
be.
he
That's
with
it.
you. He with you.
I tell people,
I'm riding my staff if it's with something.
they comfort me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, the best place to be is to be in God's will. So whatever God wants of me, that's what I'm gonna do. I struggled, if I can be honest, tell my testimony a little bit. I struggled when I first really got introduced to Christian Adventist education.
I was there too.
I was like, I don't know about all this, but having seen a lot of the things that Mrs. Jackson talked about, as far as students advancing, my daughter is going through. She's at a boarding academy up in Gentry right now. And she was in a multi-grade classroom. I was like, I don't know about multi-grade classrooms, but she heard what the other grades were doing. And when she got there, she was ready. And she's thriving right now. My son is there and he's thriving right now. She can't say, but he's in kindergarten, but he's doing second grade math.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's because, again, of the teachings and she just seeing where he's at and working with him and just taking him to that next level. Yeah.
Man, that's amazing, man. We were so proud and happy that our guests came today and talked to us on this educational level, because this is what EME pushes. We feel like you have to be educated, no matter if it's college or trade.
Absolutely.
You have to have something extra to get by in this world. You have to have something that promotes you, that gives you an advantage. And that's what it's about in these days, is advantages in these systems. We have to have an advantage. You have to be able to be more than the rest of the crowd. You have to stand above and beyond, and that's what EME believes. We're glad you guys came on, wanted to be on our show about more educating the young people, because that's what we're about.
And the school is located where?
2420 South Maple, Little Rock, Arkansas, 72204. It is tuition based. However, we do have scholarship opportunities, so come check us out.
So y'all heard what she said. That means y'all got to pay to go to school there. That's what tuition-based means. But the price is not bad.
It's not bad. And you can get Can I tell the truth, shame the devil?
Tell the truth.
My son is going there for free pretty much right now because, again, Mrs. Jackson is on her game. Y'all don't tell her this, but I really appreciate her as a principal teacher. And she went out, she researched scholarships. There was a couple of scholarships that she researched last year, and she brought all the parents together. Every parent that applied for a scholarship received a scholarship.
Wow.
And not just a scholarship, but almost the entire amount to attend school.
Like 95%.
Yeah.
Guess what? I just got a scholarship text yesterday.
Let's go.
Got to fill it out before April. So I will be filling it out. Miss Blessings will be there next year.
There you go.
That's good.
I love it.
We have plenty good room.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't understand, just because you have to pay for school means that means it's more advantageous for your child's life. Like anything that you have to put money involved is good.
It's worth it. It's your child.
It's worth it. Exactly. That's what I meant to say.
Gonna pay
definitely
off
worth it.
Your child
for
is your
sure.
investment anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
They're our future.
Yes.
We got to pay for a good future.
But that's what's going to retire. When you retire, that's what's going to take care of you.
Yeah.
So you want to
That's
make sure
right.
they able to take care of you. So
Don't leave me out in the ditch. So
Absolutely.
Man, we appreciate y'all for coming.
Yes, very thankful.
Yeah,
We're
Meet
grateful.
y'all
We're
both.
thankful. We appreciate you guys coming. This is another dope EME podcast, and we are out. Thank you.